Y'all, the way that I'm obsessed with this show, but I don't know if Xavier's gonna make it. If you guys are new here, my name is Ashley, and this is my sweet perspective where I give my take on all things TV and movie related. And y'all know I'm here to put you on back to talk about Paradise, honey. And this is just going to be a catch up, some of the main things that have happened between episodes 1 and 6. Only 2 episodes left in this season, y'all. And I'm ready to dive in it because one thing about Sterling K. Brown, he's going to deliver every single time. But outside of that, I just think it's a really interesting and compelling story. So just to give you guys a synopsis, Paradise is a story of Xavier Collins, who is a Secret Service agent to the president, President Cal, played by James Marsden. And we find out very early on, after the president is unalived, that there are a lot of things we don't know about. For one, Xavier hates his guts, hates his stinking guts. Two, we are not on the surface of America, honey. We are in an underground city somewhere in Colorado after some sort of cataclysmic event that's happened, allegedly, right? And so we're finding out that there are all of these things behind the surface, and Xavier is working to solve what's happened to President Cal. Mind you, he's got a family, he's got friends down there, and everyone plays a part, right? But especially one of the major characters in this named Sinatra. She is a tech billionaire who achieved her fortune before the disaster, invested her in a lot of interest in designing and creating and building this underground city where 25,000 people would be able to go after this apocalyptic event, right? But not only does she do this, we discover throughout the season that she has lost a child, her son, and she was not able to save him. And now she's seemingly on this mission. But what is her motivation? What is the point? These are all questions that I still have. Next, we find out that, of course, Xavier, although he hated the president's stinking guts for basically abandoning his wife in Atlanta, we're now getting into the truth of it, which was the president was continuously warning Xavier, you need to have a talk with your wife. This is a dangerous time. We need her to be close. And finally, I think during one of the last conversations before the mass exodus, he says to him, well, I'll just have to send a plane to go get her. Again, we see now all these years later, 4 or 5 years later, we're underground, and Xavier is a single father who works 2 jobs, who loves his kids, and it never stops, right? He's raising his daughter and son, and still very triggered by things. So the loss of his wife is still very felt. But by this most recent episode, we discover wifey may not be where we think she is or what we think she is, right? And so again, other questions that we have. We also see throughout this series that President Cal has both a bad relationship with his father and his son. And I really like how we're approaching the dynamics of nepotism and being the chosen one and being raised to be used, right, as a pawn. His father was in oil, but basically said that Cal was unequipped to be in the oil business. He lacked the cojones. Cal wanted to teach. Cal wanted to be a teacher, mind his own business, and the father had his life laid out. He said, "You will not be mediocre. You will bring this family honor, basically." And so you're going to run for senator, then you're going to run for governor, then you'll be president. And then I can basically use you for my bidding, which is what all of this ultimately is about. Cal's dad and Sinatra worked hand in hand to develop this city, which now in my heart, I don't even believe that this has to be. I don't believe that the world on top has been annihilated. I don't. I think something may have happened. We do hear a professor speak earlier in the episode, and he talked about if something happened, it would wipe out this portion of the US, but not in totality. So I'm really, really interested in if we'll ever, by the end of the series, get an understanding of what really happened. As it goes on, we meet the other Secret Service agents. We meet Billy, which is Xavier's best friend, Billy Pace, and we meet Billy's girlfriend, who seemingly is this novice Secret Service agent. But child, she's not, okay? Okay, she's not. As the story builds, we find out that Billy's not who we think he is, but at the end of the day, he always loved Xavier and he loved Xavier's kids. Billy turns out to have been an assassin and a mercenary employed by Sinatra to actually take out the Voyagers, I want to call them. They were supposed to go to the surface and see if life still existed, and Sinatra has them killed. Billy, when it's called to task, and now Xavier has questions because this therapist, and we'll get into her in a little bit, tells him the president told me before he passed when he was roaming around in his bathrobe to watch Billy. Xavier confronts Billy. Billy was like, I would never, never, never hurt you. But there are things about me. I want to tell you all about it. He goes to confront Sinatra, and she's like, you think you're the biggest and the baddest? And he said, you better send the biggest and the baddest if you want to take me out. Next thing we know, he's done. Now, that was a dumb move on Billy's part because at the end of the day, Billy, you could have flown under the radar for a little bit longer, at least long enough to tell Xavier everything that you needed to before, because Sinatra wasn't finna play with you, sir. And you knew that. You were her hired man, Billy. Billy went out bad. I don't know if I really enjoy what they did with his character because as soon as you really got invested with him, he was ripped away from us by the hands of his woman. Apparently, she's the biggest, baddest assassin. And as we finish the most recent episode, she's now got Xavier's daughter. As the story builds, we find out that Sinatra is after President Cal's tablet, right? He had an iPad locked in a safe, which apparently had all of the nation's secrets. I think only she has access and his dad. We discover by this last episode that Xavier's daughter done took the iPad. She said she found it just in the bushes and she grabbed it and hid it under a mattress because she thought it might have information about her mama. Now, why they threw that in the story, I don't know. It made absolutely no sense. You also know if you've been watching that President Cal's son and Xavier's daughter have hit it off. Now Cal's dad has dementia. We go through this thing of forgiveness and this moment that the grandson and grandfather have now that Cal is gone, apologizing to each other. The father, the grandfather, not knowing because he has dementia, thinking he's talking to his son, and the grandson talking to his grandfather as if it's his father because just a day before he had basically cussed his daddy out and told him he was nothing. So there's that. And again, I like that we're getting diverse themes in this. The other issue is President Cal's girlfriend, who is really the leader of the secret service down there. And I don't know, her character falls flat for me. I don't know if I necessarily believe the romance that they had there, but seemingly she does have this desire to want to discover what happened to Cal. And she and Xavier work together because once Xavier finds out they done took out Billy too, it's up in his stuck. And so he finds out, he remembers that the president, or no, she remembers that the president told her that there's a stash of guns there. And so they assemble a team really quickly to mobilize and get weaponized. And they are ready to go on attack. He's airing out Sinatra. And Sinatra's not having it. She's later tipped off by the psychiatrist who's been feeding him information as well. And my thing is this really Sinatra or is she under some sort of mind control from this psychiatrist? This psychiatrist is also the one responsible for choosing who got to live, who got to come down, who was a part of the 25,000 that live in this bunker underground. You guys, I'm really, really, really enjoying this. We leave off in the episode again. Sinatra didn't fall for the tricks. The psychologist tipped her off. And so now she's face to face with Xavier. Like, what's your next move? And he's like, I have everything. I can air you out. At least I'm working towards getting the information to air you out. And she says, basically, I got your wife. Your wife's not dead. And if you just let all this go, I can get you back to her. Now, we know we can't trust Sinatra, but what is Sterling going to do? Excuse me, what is Xavier going to do? I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm ready for these next two episodes. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. This isn't something I decided to do weekly because they dropped them so awkwardly. They dropped 3 or 4 episodes the first week and then it was just out of the scope. But I believe we are going to come back after the series ends, the season ends rather, because it did get picked up for a season 2. And we will do a live discussion over the whole first season, or maybe I'll just come back and do an upload. You guys drop it in the comments. Let me know if you love it so far. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you have any theories? I'm very, very curious about that. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of those things, and I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.